Mics are hot.
It's beautiful in here. And I'm gonna tell y'all why in a little second.
Second shot till now.
First of all, look, if I wasn't so brown, I'll blush. Hey, Queens.
Hey.
Welcome to the Queens Table where we glow and we grow together.
Maintaining our crowns while supporting our sisters as well. And we promise to keep you entertained while always keeping it real.
From one queen to another, adjust your crowns and have a seat at our table. Now let me tell you why I'm so damn happy. My baby daddy's here, y'all.
Hey, Daddy.
My baby daddy is here.
Yeah.
Listen, when I tell you that this is long overdue, it's long overdue. So today we are ending Pride Month with a fucking thing.
Boom.
Boom. Bam. It's not a 22. It's not a 22. It's Freddie. Published author, poet, and writer. My baby daddy, Lancaster's own, Freddie Guzman.
Thank you.
Yo, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Thank you for inviting a king to the table.
Yes. A real king, okay?
Yes.
I can't even stop smiling. Every time I'm around, like, yo.
You've been giddy since you walked in the door. I love it.
As soon as I love him. Like, listen,
It's nostalgia for me.
he has that effect on me.
Billy Daz and I'm like, it's nostalgia.
It is.
Family.
Like, he's not new to this.
Yeah.
He's not new to this microphone. Okay?
I'm a little nerve wracked though. I ain't gonna lie.
Why?
It's been a while since I've done something like this. You know, it's been a very long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Long
I
overdue.
was trying to get the men, you guys, but it got so hot to my house. Y'all niggas really do
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
appreciate for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. Before we get into every single thing, we're gonna ask how everybody's week went. How was your week? We'll start with you, sister.
It was a good week. I mean, it was a long, exhausting.
He was in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
How was Puerto Rico?
Oh, it was beautiful. We celebrated our honeymoon. My husband and I.
Congratulations.
It was our first time going to the island, my very first time going to my family's island, and it was amazing. Being able to have that appreciation for the natives, you know, the people out there, and just, oh my God. I will say this, no Puerto Rican food will compare
Ever.
in the United States to any Puerto Rican we have. The people are beautiful, they're very family oriented, it's such a different vibe, and you know, it's very different than American Puerto Rican culture. I will say that a
How
lot.
so?
Well, one thing they don't do, they don't wear t-shirts that say Puerto Rico on them. They don't have,
They don't do the
they
flip
don't,
flops.
well, you know, of course they got flip flops and stuff like
But
that,
the
but they
ones
don't do the
with the
Puerto
Puerto Rico
Rico
with the Puerto Rico
sandals, none of that
flag on.
stuff. Like, and what I learned about Puerto Rico was how joyous people are and how beautiful they are, how they, you know, with all the suffrage that's been happening since Hurricane Maria and then the pandemic, like they really do swing, bustle, and hustle. They come together to make ends meet, and I'm forever humbled that I was able to see my father's island and to be able to have my husband with that experience and for the both of us at the same time to first experience that was amazing.
So it was first for both.
Yes.
Fire.
And our honeymoon was a beautiful pleasure to be out there. It was. I never seen such amazing waters. I never
I
seen
ain't
clear
gonna say
water.
he was glowing, but he was glowing. That picture had me envious as a motherfucker. I was like, put me in the suitcase. I wanna come. I wanna fucking come. Yo, I love your glow.
Thank you. I appreciate
And I will give some of that praise to you over here because that, like, I've never seen you so happy. And I've known you for a while, but when I tell you, like, this glow that you have, the happiness, like, it's always been you for me.
I love you, baby mama.
It's always been for
You always rooted for me. I love
I'm
you.
telling you, it's always been for me. Always. How was your weekend?
My week was,
E-money.
you know, how it goes.
You weren't in Puerto Rico.
I wasn't in Puerto Rico, so not as, good as others. But no, I mean, it was, it's a stressful life right now. So it was all right. I got to spend yesterday with you guys. We had a nice little picnic. We had a little pizza picnic in Bonnie's living room.
We did.
So that was nice. We got to spend a little time together. But you know, it is what it is right now.
And yo, Vixen,
Yeah.
3 X's today or 2?
Whatever you want to give me.
3. What's up?
I had a great week. Very, very great week.
You have a bit of a glow to you.
Right, you
as
look
well.
good. You look good, man.
I'm happy.
Are you?
Finally.
I know that's right. Life is too short to be unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with everything we have going on right now. Well, my week was fine.
I'm sorry, Bonnie. How was your week, Bonnie?
That's great.
Hollywood, Bonnie.
It was great. My week was fucking great, and it's even better today. When I tell y'all, I'm so happy with you. I love Freddie. Okay, it's a thing. We're a thing. When he got married, I got married too. We got married. We got us a husband. Okay, we got a husband.
Everybody's just saying that to me. All my lady friends like, yeah, I got married right along with
Yes,
y'all.
we did.
Did you know this was a group activity?
And I'm married.
Y'all got married when? Through the pandemic.
We got married.
It was very intimate.
November.
Even the pictures, I was jealous.
Yeah, we got married November 12th of last year. And it was beautiful. It was nice. The judge was like, I've never seen so many people for a JP wedding. But you know, again, because we're still going through a pandemic, no matter what's going on now. But you know, it was nice to have my family and friends, and you know, his family couldn't make it, but we made it happen on the cell phones and you know, FaceTime for them to see us get married. So it was a beautiful thing. We got married in November before the holidays because it's my favorite month, and you know, it's before Thanksgiving. And you know, it's my parents got married in November, so it
So
was
like
something.
sentimental value.
Oh yeah, definitely something.
Now let's delve into. I want to delve into. Let's get into Pride Month because we're here. It's the end of Pride Month, but really and truly, Pride Month is all year long. That's how I feel anyway. Because when you're prideful, you're prideful. Period.
I think it's the same as like, you know, they talk about like Mother's Day, like, oh, it's Mother's Day, we should celebrate them every day, like that type of. It's the same thing. Like, there doesn't have to be a month. Like, what are we supposed to be like? Kiss my ass the rest of the year, you know?
Right.
Like what? That concept seems ridiculous, but I like that we have a month to celebrate. Yes.
I'll tell you, Downtown Lancaster has been a movie. Downtown Lancaster has been a movie. I kind of miss some of the movie. You're right, but I miss some of the movies. Let me ask you this, right? What does Pride Month mean to you?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm be very transparent. I don't really celebrate Pride. You know, I celebrate me, of course, but I'm not into the whole rainbows and flags and you know that whole movement. I never put myself in that community of movement. You know, I'm just about myself and my husband, and you know, just living my life freely and happy. You know. I guess if I'm going to be prideful, I'm going to say that part. I'm proud of. When it comes to Pride Month, I don't really.
For the fact that you can say that you have a husband now, because a few years ago, you know what I mean. That might have been a struggle to be like, can we get married? Where are we? You know what I mean? Like, how amazing is it that you can? I got my husband. I did it here. You know what I mean? I didn't have to go far. Like, I think that was absolute bullshit. That you had to. Let's go to Jersey. Like, you know what I mean? Like, wasn't it Jersey that was? It was Jersey where you had to go and get married before.
Around here, I can't remember. I thought New York was the first to legalize.
Yeah, it was
New York was first?
They legalized
Yeah.
it back in 2013. Because I went to New York City Pride.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't do Pride in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I do Pride in DC, Baltimore.
Where it's fun, like
Where
it's
New
a
York
party.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my first taste of quote unquote Pride was New York City. I never experienced anything in Pennsylvania. So when I decided to leave Pennsylvania and move to New York City, it was a beautiful, like, it was like a playground. And not for what people might think of what I'm trying to say. It's just the fact of, like, here's somebody like me that's in a huge, like, 9.2 to 10 million, like, people city. And, like, you have all these different flavors of community. It's not just one. It's varieties of community. So yeah. So that's another thing. I don't Pride here for me doesn't move.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's a much smaller community here than we're doing it in something like New York.
Well, I had my own barber, because I got my haircut yesterday.
He said I got that one haircut.
He surprised me.
I would lick it, but he's up here.
And it's hot. It's gonna be salty.
He asked me, he was like, oh, have you saw such and such, and this is that. I'm like, I don't know what he was talking about. And that's the other thing about the community here is like, when you see one, they expect that you all room together. And I never was that kind of person. I always had my own friends. I always stayed in the background. I get invited to these things. If it's not a New York thing, a DC thing, I'm not going to do it. That's my fault. That's what I experienced myself out there. I never experienced myself in these things. People are doing all this wrong bullshit, but that's just.
We started checking at nobody.
Oh.
We don't all know each other. It's not like they're secret clubs that we have meetings.
Right, exactly. People have been old soul, and then I said, what do you mean by that? He was like, well, because a lot of the older folks that are here, that are, none of this was about what it is now. They feel the exact same way. And then when I counted what he was saying, I understood because back then, when the Stonewall riots happened in 1969, it was about, respect. It was about equality. It wasn't about what it is now, where I go to Pride and lip lock and you're looking for one night, or you're smoking and you're just being nasty. Or it's really about this is who I am, respect who I am. You don't have to accept who I am, but respect who I am. And that's been lost from many, many people. It's not the exact same feeling. And when we talked about it yesterday, he was like, I apologize. No one's apologize. It's just, it's not about being trying to correct them. It's just the fact that's just who I am. Like I'm not a part of the community here. I don't intend to be a part of any community. Like I said, I celebrate my life. I've been out since July 4th of 2016 with friends. And when my family found out, when my mom found out, it wasn't through me. I didn't have that chance like everybody else has. I never got that chance. It was taken away from me. So when we had those conversations, it was very difficult. It wasn't like, get out of my house, everything. It was more so like, pack my bags before it gets heavy. Because it's hard, especially a gay son and having a tight bond with your mom. It's a difficult situation. It still is difficult for me. I'm 35 years old, and when my mother found out about 10, 12 years ago, it was hard for her then. Just to keep it out the way, because I'm very open about where I am in my life. We're distant from each other. It's difficult. I do miss my mom. I love her very much, always. And I know she loves me herself all the time. She misses me, but I know with how she feels in her beliefs, and she's an old school woman, it's never going to change the aspects of where she is in her life and where I'm at in my life. We're from two different generations. It's not an open thing for her, especially when you're growing up in a Black Caribbean household. And there's something about that stereotype of a Puerto Rican mom or Black mom, like it's just like an embarrassment or whatnot. I don't think she's embarrassed of me. I just think that when it comes to who I am and my sexual orientation, she felt like she should have been known first. Yeah. She should have known first. I didn't give her that. And I always get into little arguments when we did, and I used to tell her, if I told you first, it would have been the same thing if I told you last. So there was no point.
Your reaction would have been the same. But whoever went and told her for you, though, like, I don't think you should ever take that away.
That's wrong.
Yeah, I say the same thing, but at the same time, I also say thank you, because what I was prolonging on how to go about it, they did it for me in the wrong way. Yeah, they forced my hand to go ahead and do what I had to do, but I wasn't scared. That's the one thing. I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous.
So what gave you the courage?
I just,
Fuck it.
it was just like she found out and it's like, whatever, I'm 25 years old.
Right. I'm grown, like I'm an adult. Yeah.
I came out to my friends at 19 on 4th of July and literally, ironically, fireworks did go off when I did say it. It did.
Did you know before that?
Yeah. I did after I left school because a lot of people get this misconception of nobody really knows me. Like nobody really
If I
knows
ain't
me.
say it, it's not.
Yeah.
I honestly thought you were bisexual.
Well, I got that too as well. I mean, I was bisexual. I was quote unquote straight bisexual, and I'm gay. It's like there's levels to this shit.
Yeah.
In my opinion, love is love. I don't care. Love
It
is
is.
love. Like that's how I feel.
It's an open love.
I like you. I like you. I don't like you.
I want to say this out loud because I feel like there's a lot to I don't want to say it's a formula, but I just want to say that you really don't know who you are until you explore yourself. You can't force religion and rules and regulations on a child until they know who they are. I felt like being in the old school generation of kids, we were forced to go to church, we were forced to do this and do that. We didn't really start knowing ourselves until after we were, 16, maybe 18.
And even then, discovering it kind of felt wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were breaking the rules a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what it was for me. I didn't want to deceive myself and, be wrong to God, but then it's like, I have to find out who I am and see where I'm at. It happened in more ways than one in the sense of like, I can't believe that this is life. Now, when I did come out, it wasn't like, oh, I came out the closet or like I came out to my friends and I'm about to go fuck Tom, Dick, and Harry. It wasn't like that. For me, I was just so happy to say it to my friends first. I cried with a few Heinekens in my system.
You felt better.
Yeah, I felt really
I
bad
have a
about
question for you. So, what do you say to young men that are ready to come out, but they're afraid and they don't have the courage?
Oh, that's kind of heavy because
What do you say to
That's
them?
a
Like,
lie.
you know what I mean? Like, it's hard.
it is hard. I come from a different generation, like I said. I'm 35, and a lot of these kids nowadays have very big influence of an open door for those from the past that are able to come out easier than I did. I just want to say to them, love yourselves first. Like, there's always going to be an insecurity because you're going to feel like people don't even want to like me because who I am and fuck them. They're not for
That
you.
part.
Fuck them. They're not for you. Love yourself first. Always love yourself. I had to learn the most difficult ways of what self-love is and was for me at that time coming out. And then having to deal with homophobia as well as discrimination. And mind you, this month is not just Pride, it's Juneteenth, but it's also Puerto Rican Pride. So I celebrate all three flavors in 1 month for me. And I just also say to those that sit here and like discriminate against people like myself, I'm not no black gay man. I got everybody against me, no matter what, and all different levels. And I just gotta say to you guys, young men that are coming out, and this is your coming out story, just know to love yourself. Know that too many people out there trying to love you. Know there's some trials and tribulations of what that is, and you're gonna find out what hurt is. You just have to know to pick and choose what you want to love, who you want to love with, and know that there's going to always be, again, that rainbow, as they say. And for me, it's always that light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes,
Yeah, it has. And I love my husband. I love Cameron. I know behind the scenes watching, but I just want to say that on the scenes, like, you changed my life. Everything that
How
I've
do you
gone
mean?
We're gonna do this. How did you meet?
We met on Instagram.
I met my husband on Instagram too.
But then I stopped responding. Were you afraid he was a catfish?
At first, yes. Then he was a friends on Facebook for years. That we had, and we literally have been.
Oh, so he was watching your dance
Yeah,
session.
he was watching.
When I tell y'all, if y'all don't know Freddie gets it the fuck in, okay?
He
Freddie will
does.
set up his camera and all
Yeah,
around you,
I
okay?
used to love it when he would
Right.
dance to the 80s music. That was my
Bring it
shit.
back. Yes.
I got requests to come back with some,
Yes,
but they
you
keep
need
shutting my
to.
stuff down, so I can't really do it. I can't do it.
Oh, because of the copyrights. and
Yeah.
stuff.
So who's
That's
winning
so
who's
bad.
DMs? East Lanier again?
Babe, say the truth.
So we're not gonna lie. But you know, I would react on things and then we would start the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And it
So
was
technically.
technically.
But he was like baiting you with the posts to get you in the DM. I see it. I got you. I'm right here.
But you know what's so funny is that like I didn't want to believe it because you know I don't want to say it's a gay thing. I think it's just a natural thing for anybody in general. I call it the 2 week notice. Like you know they like you. They say good morning, good afternoon, how are you? How was your work week? Yeah. And so I was like, I ain't doing this. So we kept it on the inbox. And then it got stronger. So I was like, okay, I think we can, you know, settle with doing text messages and phone calls. And we started doing that. Then I surprised called him on Duo. And he picked up, he was making eggs. Coming out the club. And
that's the quickest shit. Yo, quickest meal ever when you out. Eggs real quick.
And he's not from here. He's originally from California, and he's from and lived in Florida. Let me get my words right. Born in California, raised up in Florida, and we had a long distance relationship. After the video calls, he flew to me during Valentine's Day weekend. So February 13th, we physically met, and our first actual date was ironically Valentine's Day.
Y'all straight men need to take some
That
notes.
is so romantic.
Seriously.
First of all,
Seriously.
I'm jealous.
I'm so romantic.
Word up. Say it again. Straight men take notes.
Take notes.
He flew and I flew to him, so we were flying back and forth to see each other. And then he proposed to me, and I said yes. I was listening to Alicia Keys. When he did, he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like,
That's what you remember, artist.
"Yeah." I was like, I'm just getting choked up, teary eyed, because you know I'm just like thinking about
Didn't feel real.
all that. Yeah, it didn't feel real. It didn't. And I called my best friend. I was like, I'm engaged. And it was like, you don't, not just that, like I said, you don't think about stuff like that. I never thought in my life I was going to ever be someone's husband or even somebody's something, anything.
See, but
So,
you deserve to be happy for a long time. He really has. Like,
Yeah.
he deserves it. He deserves all of his happiness. So, what are you doing right now? Like, what you got going on? Can we take a little bit? Because I know you're doing Zumba.
yeah. So I got called and offered to do podcasting. And y'all know I haven't done podcasting
Can I come?
since a while. So
Can I come over?
sure, why not? If you know how to speak Spanish.
Un poquito.
I can say quítate los panties.
And I can say,
That's it.
what you say? And I say, rompe los patis.
Y'all are wrong. That's so wrong. Yeah, I got offered a few projects to do based on my book, which I have right here.
Yes. FREDDIEnomics.
I wrote this back in 2014, and it was released in 2015. And this book changed my life. I was able to go locally, poetry writing, and spoken word, and based on this book, they wanted to do something different within the Latino community. So, working for a side organization in the future, we're trying to do a special project podcast as well as they're giving me a chance to do my own poetry show. So, we're in the works of that and doing Freestyle Sunday, bringing back the National Freestyle Music. So, everything's in the works right now. So,
It's happening.
Exactly
It's
what he's
happening.
doing.
So I mean, I don't like to speak things out loud until like cements it, but that's what it is right now.
Where can you get this book?
Well, unfortunately, that book is not available physically, but it's on Kindle, so you can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, anywhere, Kindle edition. So that's actually my husband gave me this book for Christmas because I lost my original copy. I got salvaged. Destroyed it, I should say, in my storage. So on Christmas, opened that book and I saw my face.
Tears.
I literally had to
And this is
tears.
the
Tears.
traditional Freddie smirk. This is a traditional smirk.
Yeah.
When I tell you, like, yes.
I'm gonna have to read. I'm excited.
Yeah.
You want to
Say it
Do you want me to do
An
something?
excerpt? Yes, please.
Okay. I guess I could.
while you find her,
Yeah.
it's on the phone, whatever you want to read. So he's getting back into podcasting. When I tell you that, if you want to hear something, you want to hear it coming out of Freddie's mouth. Freddie is unbiased. He's unbiased. He's just the most genuine person I've met in my past years. And I don't vibe with a lot of people, but I always vibe with Freddie from the time when I met him.
Yeah.
Just because he felt so, like, when I met him, he said,
Like just kindred spirits. Like
Yes.
you just feel the
yes,
energy.
remember we went to lunch that one time?
Oh, yeah, we had some them tacos. That's good name for tacos. We're at the cantina, right?
Yes, the
Oh,
cantina,
yeah.
and we took banging ass pictures, and we drank,
Oh,
and
it was,
we were
we had.
married.
I still have them
been-
photos.
I want to do
Can we, yes, we do
I like tacos.
I guess so.
We should have made them, right?
I guess so.
We're inviting ourselves.
No, y'all can come too. You found something you want to read to us?
Well,
I was gonna say, you see
because
my
it's
face?
Pride.
It is.
This is I have a chapter about sexual orientation and other things about gay issues and whatnot that go beyond gay issues. It's called That's So Gay, ironically. So I'm gonna read you the paragraphs here. So it goes like this: Are you gay? This is a question that lingers on someone's mind, even if they're gay or not. When asked, it pauses and stops everything around. Finding an answer to back up your answer. People are fascinated by what you are so curious to know these aspects of someone's orientation. You have to sit and think, why? Why are you so curious? Or are you scared to be afraid of what you are? Traditionally, this word was used in a different manner. For example, I would say, "Good morning, sir. How are you today?" And that man would have said, "Good morning. I'm feeling great and gay. Can't complain. Hope your day is blessed." End quote. In your head, you're saying to yourself, "That sounds weird, strange, and awkward." To our generations now in this century, we look at it as, "I can't see myself saying that." You're right. No one would. At a time when being conservative, reserved, light, and kind were metaphors to everyday life, being gay truly meant being happy in those days. We're talking about the 50s and the 60s. You can hear Natalie Wood singing in "I Feel Prison" in the West Side Story music. The term has changed to describe an individual who likes the same sex. People around the world know this as a sin against God's ways, condemning those who are and stating it's not human nature at all. You know what? And don't agree. Who are we again to judge someone else for who they are? That's like judging a person who loves Jesus and don't know his face. People stop and stare when seeing a man with a man hand in hand as if it's impossible to like or be in love with the same sex. Guess what? It is possible. We're all human. The fact that people have hate in their minds, body, and soul is sad in itself. It's weird to be ignorant with words filled with hate. If a woman wants to be happy with another woman, then let her be. What bothers me is people are so immune to wanting to know a person's sexual orientation, yet don't worry about their own damn business as if someone's sexual orientation is their business.
Snaps in a circle.
Fuck you. How about that? A lot of things in gay culture are categorized that we're segregated. We're still fucking human. What is gay to you besides liking the same sex? Being gay has different settings with different boundaries. Just because you're gay doesn't mean you're gay. The metamorphosis of a gay person is a work in progress. I believe in equality. I'm all about and always been about equality. If you're gay, don't get offended. Everybody has their own opinions. There's some things that go on record and things that are behind closed doors. Some like to keep it in the closet. Others stay trapped in the closet. I think it's time to come out the closet. Thank you. I appreciate
What
it.
gave you the inspiration? Like, did you just start journaling?
Well, I love reading books since I was a kid. Like, I can, like, back to since I was 6 years old. And writing, I love my penmanship with writing in cursive and writing short stories and all that good stuff. And I did journal starting when I was 16, and I kept going until like my early 30s, and I just stopped. I just figured, I just want to write poetry. I don't need to write anything about my life anymore because, life is going to keep happening, and it's going to continue forward. But what I enjoy more nowadays is writing. I feel very expressive when I do write poetry. It was a safe haven for me from a lot of the homophobia, a lot of the bullying that I went through as a kid, a lot of the things that was going on at home. So, it was either writing in a journal or continuously cutting my body up with a knife and razor blades because that's how I felt.
That's how you were able to
Express myself. And just knowing the journeys that I was going through. Like, sometimes I can't even tell y'all. Like, I'm 35 years old, and when I look back just for this interview and just, going through my head, like, I can't believe I went through all that
to
stuff.
look back at that young man. What would you tell him?
I don't know,
And
man.
I don't want to make you cry.
Yeah. I want to give him a hug. I want to give him a hug and tell him that it's gonna be good. Like, you got great people in your
Your
life.
husband gonna be fine.
You have great people that love you, that care for you, that support you no matter who you are, and you're gonna do big things. I wish I had what a lot of people have nowadays in loving and support of just being who you are, no matter acceptance. For me, it's not about acceptance; it's about my respect. Give me my
thing is,
respect.
it wasn't that long ago, but it just feels different. Like if it would have been nowadays, like if you were in now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would have just been so different.
I think I would have held his hand longer. I feel like when it comes to growing up and just trying to figure out who you are, it's hard because of how your parents were raised. Because then that cycle doesn't change, and you end up searching in the wrong places, and that has happened to me. It has, and I wasn't successful, but I knew deep down inside that God had another plan for me, and these were the things that He laid out, and it was up to me to either to take those opportunities and run with it, or just leave them where they are on the table and just close that door. And I had no choice but to open that door and see where it was going to take me. And it took me to a lot of great places. It took me to writing a book. It took me to being in a newspaper, doing volunteer work. It took me to doing philanthropy work, putting in time, being able to do different podcasts and meeting you guys at the time and doing that particular opportunity and then some. Then, going away, coming back, and this book resurfacing back into my life, and then finding love for the first time, like real love for the first time.
Real love.
And, just knowing that unconditional love is possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
You have to pinch yourself a lot.
Sometimes I still can't believe I'm married.
I know.
And sometimes I still can't believe, like...
And you deserve it all.
Yeah.
All of it.
I
Feel
actually...
a little surreal sometimes.
Yeah, it does. I'm actually trying to hold back tears right now because it's like full circle.
Yeah.
You can let it
I already know. I already know. Because when you're at your lowest,
Yeah.
or what you think is your lowest, and you feel like it's never going to get any better, you never forget those times.
Mhm.
You never forget them.
I always feel like there's a moment in life where it does come full circle. Like, we all go through things, we all go through struggles, we all go through moments, and you can sit in the moment like, why did I have to experience this? Why did I have to go through this? And then it might be a year, it might be 2 years, it might be 10 years down the road, but eventually I feel like there's a moment you get to where you're like, I understand. I understand why I went through that, because it was preparing me for this.
Yes.
It was getting me ready for what I was supposed to
Amen
be.
to that.
You know?
Hallelujah.
Like, I feel like that's how we should look back on it. Like, all the struggle, all the bullshit, all the nonsense, it was just preparing you to have this amazing husband that you can appreciate, and
Yes.
the friends and support you can embrace all that much more.
It
You
really
know?
is. I the one thing I did struggle with in my journey of being a gay man was the fact that, I love all my lady friends. But I never had a real, like, male bonding of a friendship with male friends. And I still don't have that. And I don't care for it now no more. I used to. But you know, I have a few homies that
Why do you think that was?
it's simple. It's because you know it was a homophobic thing. You know, the whole faggot thing.
I hate that word.
I hate
Yeah.
the word too. I really hate the word. It's just like saying the N word or calling me a spick or you know whatnot. Like I just know it was a lot of the macho-ness of you got to be this, you got
They
to be
weren't
that.
secure enough in themselves to be
Yeah.
a genuine friend to a man that likes men, and that's weird to me.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say is that that did teach me a lesson about those kinds of men that are homophobic or you know are just insecure with themselves
Right.
because a lot of them are also in the closet DL thugs as they call it, and then
First
some.
one asking their bitch to put on a strap on.
But
Just saying.
Talk
yeah.
about it.
Just saying.
Talk
But I
about
would say
it.
okay.
Talk about it.
Just saying.
All right.
I know that's a different subject, and that's what that's for right now.
A little spicy
But
with it.
I will say there's also those other guys that I went to school with that do give me that respect when they do see me. And some have apologized for some of the things that they did do.
That is big.
Yes, it is.
And I, you know,
What does that mean to you when people apologize to you? Does it help you?
I mean,
You still want to punch them?
no, I keep them in the past. Those apologies were long overdue. And I know in how we live now, you know, it's like, you know, what have I done, or you know, whatever you're seeking for yourself for security, as they say. But I don't care for it. I mean, I care, and then I don't care because it's like I appreciate that you stood up for yourself to sit there and apologize to me. It wasn't easy to say, yeah, I accept it, but it just says a lot about judgment of character. It just says, like, you know, you probably have a child yourself that is a gay son or gay daughter, and all those
Look
things
at
that you
y'all.
said about me.
Want
Yeah.
to do it?
Now,
I
what do you
feel
have
like
to say
that's
for
what it
yourself?
takes sometimes. It takes sometimes for these homophobic people to have to experience something that affects them directly.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be a sibling or a friend or their child coming out, for them to stop and be like, all right, maybe my perspective isn't right. Maybe I'm not thinking about this right. My daughter's the exact same person she was yesterday as she was today.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it takes some people some time. I don't know that I would be as welcoming to accepting the apology as you were.
Yeah.
I think I'd still be like, eat my dick. But I
Run
think
it back.
for those
Run it
who
back.
knows,
I'm starting
I'm
to
childish
I
like
have
that.
to keep it moving because I mean,
If you let it disrupt you, it disrupts you.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you can't
already
let
in a
that
different
fester.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That was
happy.
a different time of
And
life.
you can't touch this glow. When I tell you y'all cannot touch this glow, y'all can't touch that glow.
No, and my happiness is definitely and not
It
just being
radiates.
married, but like
I feel happy because
I'm
I'm sitting
definitely
next to
happy
you.
in my life.
The happiness is rubbing off. I'm happy.
Oh, you rubbing off love and
Everybody's
warmth,
just
you know?
glowing and shit. That's
I'm
sweat.
with it. I'm telling you.
She said that's sweat.
It's just sweat.
No, we're good. We're
No,
really
yes,
good.
we're
Yeah.
But I'm kind of scared though because when it comes to us, and I had this conversation with him on Friday when we found out what happened with Roe versus Wade,
Oh my God.
and what Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas, said about the other quote unquote projects to go into,
Yeah.
including gay marriage and you know
Contraception.
yeah. And I said, babe, I'm scared. You know, we fought so hard to
go backwards.
to be with each other, and you know,
They can't take that from you.
They can't.
They can.
They cannot take
But
that.
they can.
we got denied.
They can.
We got denied for an apartment before he moved up here to Pennsylvania from Florida because of being a same-sex couple.
And you would think down there they accepted it more.
No, there's still conservatory people
Well,
in
Florida's
this world,
just different.
and
Florida's the limp dick of the country.
yeah,
Just
it was
Did
experiencing
they-
that was
how
crazy.
How did they word that? Because
It was.
did you just know?
I
Or did
felt
they say
it,
it?
and they said they said it away from the phone because he was on the phone because he was still living in Florida. I was in Pennsylvania doing apartment shopping, so to speak, and it was an older couple, and it was a beautiful apartment, and they were loving everything, and then they kept on saying roommates, and I already told those that we're not roommates, we're actually a couple.
We be fucking.
And they still kept referring to.
And then when they went to the
That's
side,
yeah.
and I already knew what that conversation was. And thank you for your time and blah blah blah. They said on the email to him, and I was like, oh, that's swag. I already knew what it was. But
Yeah,
then
definitely.
this overturned, ruling also says a lot about the future for not just gay people as a whole, but just women and
It's a downward spiral.
It does. We've been
It's
having.
not
I
good.
feel like women. We're on the chopping block here. Like I feel
It's
like
not
we're being
just-
attacked almost.
It's not just us though, and people are. I think a lot of people are missing the bigger scope of things. There is a precedence that was just set for overturning what previous Supreme Court justices have already ruled. That has usually been, once the Supreme Court rules on it, it kind of sits. You have respect for your predecessors, and you don't necessarily try to overrule that or try to change it,
Agreed.
especially this far from when the ruling was made. They have now set a precedence where Clarence Thomas did say, he said, we're going to take on same-sex marriage, and we're going to take on the federal protections to have contraception. Now, gay marriage is not in our Constitution, so yes, they can,
So my
just
thing
like
is that-
abortion wasn't, yes, they can
But
repeal it.
abortion, okay, those children are going. People are married. What do you do?
So
What are you trying to do anyway?
there's been a
Because we will knock all this shit over.
There's been
okay?
a variety of horseshit that has occurred this week, and a lot of it has gotten lost because it's been so much that's happened. At the same time that Roe versus Wade was being overturned, Clarence Thomas was talking about contraception, same-sex marriage. There is a senator in Texas who has declared that we should now revisit Brown versus Board of Education and Plessy versus Ferguson, which
So we're
is,
gonna be segregated again.
those are the laws that
Yeah.
protect us from
Pretty much,
segregation.
yeah.
I
Um,
am not my ancestors. I will
Also, there is a current gun bill that is being passed. It was just passed through legislation. That gun bill now has the boyfriend loophole. If you are in a domestic violence situation, you call the police, your boyfriend gets arrested, they no longer can take his guns. Usually, if you have a domestic violence charge, it's automatic that they take your guns. In the meantime, your license is suspended until the case is resolved. That's no longer the case. Now they get to keep them. They've also taken away the limits on the number of handguns that you can own. There is now unlimited handguns that you can own. So they actually
Said
just
unlimited.
yes, they took away limits on guns that you can own, on handguns. So basically, they set this entire country back about 75 years, and they're just getting started.
I'm just curious. So, what happens when you have an ectopic pregnancy?
So an ectopic pregnancy is when the egg actually attaches in the fallopian tube.
Right, but you're.
You need a DNC.
It's life-threatening.
but
No, you need to cut the
you need
ectopic.
to get rid of the.
So is that still considered an
You
abortion?
don't need to get rid of the tube. You can have surgery.
Yeah.
Okay. You can literally cut the tube in half. You slice it in half, you remove
and then put it back together.
and then you sew it back together. You want to try,
If it's not too far.
if it's not too far, you want to try your best to try to salvage the fallopian tube. I worked in the operating room for 10 years, so
I'm loving the
You-
education I'm getting.
yeah.
you can repair it, and that's the goal. You want to try to maintain that, because if not, that ovary can't drop an egg then.
And that's the thing. It depends on where you catch it at. How far,
Exactly.
how many weeks.
Now, if you are in a situation where you're in a lot of pain, it's just like an appendicitis. If you're starting to feel pain, you're getting towards like it's too late. So if that egg is because as it grows, it
Yeah.
doesn't have room to grow, so it's going to rupture. You can bleed out in about 2 minutes.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
People
So
don't
if you go
realize.
get it removed, is that still considered an abortion?
Yes,
DNCs
now it
are
is.
coded.
It's not a DNC.
Not that, but DNCs are coded as abortion.
DNEs are coded as abortion. So
Okay.
a DNC is a dilate and curettage. You basically, like, after you've had a miscarriage, if there's any blood or tissues or anything left in there, you don't want it to get gangrene.
Yeah.
So you go with like a little scraper and you scrape it out. A DNE is where you've had like a stillborn or something and you're too far along to be able to pass it naturally, or they're not going to have you go into labor, so you go in and you go in with the suction. But that's done in a hospital.
But then somebody get charged with murder for a stillborn birth?
In Texas, about a month ago, yes, there was a woman sitting in prison right now because she had a stillborn and they charged her with murder. Also, Louisiana just passed a law that if you're in a domestic violence situation and you want to divorce your husband, if you end up pregnant, you're not allowed to divorce him. So you have to stay in the domestic violence marriage until you pop that kid out.
So basically, they're going to just open up back alleys and people are going to be able to abortions in the backyard.
This is my thing.
Pretty much.
Roe v. Wade, people wanting to overturn Roe v. Wade, it doesn't have jack shit to do with your religion.
It has absolutely nothing to do with your religion. It has to do with keeping poor people poor. That is all it is. Because every senator out there whose 16-year-old daughter gets knocked up, she's going to have access to safe abortion.
Sure is.
Every governor who knocks up a mistress is going to have access to a safe
Because
abortion.
they can afford a flight.
Exactly. But not even just a flight. It's you can go state to state. So like it just depends. Right now there's 26 states where it's in their state constitution. Can't be touched. Can't be touched. It is legal. Florida's one of them. It's in their state constitution. It's not even a discussion anymore. They can't touch it. It's legal in that state and that's it. But other states where it's not in their state's constitution, those laws are going to get wonky and people are going to try and change them. We've got an election coming in November. Like, people need to pay attention right now because this shit is getting scary. It's getting scary. And
But they said the same thing when we voted last time. This shit's getting scary. And look what's happening.
But look what he did.
We gotta pay $7 for gas. And everything
Well,
else.
here's the one thing that I'm learning now, and it's the honest to God truth. And if anybody's out listening, is you have to know who you're voting for.
Mhm.
You have to know who you're voting for. And I'm saying it again, you have to know who you're voting for in your local area as well as in the federal area as well as your state representatives, who you're representing and who's representing you. And that is also something a lot of people don't know. And I'm learning this now because even my husband told me about it. I'm used to just voting for the president, but now I'm learning
That's what I used to
you
do.
have
Judges
to
and stuff like that.
judges,
Yes.
congressmen,
Local
state representatives.
politics. Like this, the federal politics is important. It's extremely important as well. But your local and state politics, that's what makes the laws that affects your day-to-day life. A lot of times we say when we hear a federal law pass, like, oh, no, that doesn't really affect me. That kind of mentality. State laws do. State laws affect all of us. Who our governor is affects all of us. What judges we have in there affect all of us. Like, those are things we have to pay attention.
This whole situation just scares me because I have a daughter. And it's like there's so many different stories that get swept under the rug, like the whole Walt Disney thing that just happened. All the men got arrested for sex trafficking and stuff like that.
They barely talked about
That's
it.
not even being talked about at
Oh,
all.
yeah.
And yet they're still letting people go
Wait,
into
break down the Walt Disney.
Okay, so there was basically a sex trafficking ring in Florida was busted, and about 14 of the people that were in this ring were Disney employees who apparently had been monitoring, surveilling people in the park in an effort to get them later.
Yeah. So basically, they're making it okay for these rapists
There were judges
and
that
stuff
were
like
arrested.
that
There were judges
to
involved.
rape these kids, get them pregnant, and then what? They can't have an abortion?
Nope.
It's like it's messed
Here's
up.
what's going to happen. We are going to see the extreme to this decision. We are going to have women out there who are going to kill themselves rather than have this child. You are going to have men out there who are going to kill their wives or girlfriends rather than bring this child.
There are people that are going to be killing children.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Brothers got a baby.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
And they never stop to take
They
into
don't care.
consideration.
They don't care. It's all about the dollar.
But they're idiots for that because all this is going to do is cost more money. It's going to cost more money. It's going to put an influx on the welfare system, an influx on the foster system.
welfare is
It's
next.
going to increase drugs. It's going to increase crime. It's going to
Welfare is
increase
next.
poverty. Like,
Child support.
it's most men don't pay their child support as it is.
Yeah,
People
but
can't
still,
find a living wage
something
out here.
now.
You think they're
Something's
worried
gonna
about their
happen.
child support?
Something's
Like,
gonna happen.
I know a couple.
we can't pay for gas. Come on.
Can I say this about y'all
You
ladies?
can say
whatever
anything.
you want.
When it comes to the overturning, just me as a man, period, I feel like I don't have no rights to say what you guys do with your bodies. And I can't speak for all men, but just me as a man in general, I feel the same way as y'all feel. And I just think that it's not fair. It's a disrespect to what we fought in this country for. And I go back and forth my whole life. Sometimes I'm not, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of rape babies involved, which is one of the biggest things a lot of people haven't seen.
It says all kinds of stuff.
It's hard because I don't know who quoted it, but somebody said your mothers and grandmothers had more rights than what you guys have right now. Starting since Friday, and to hear that is the other reason why we sparked that conversation, because it's like
I think this is going to affect men, though, not just in the abortion aspect, but this has opened up a door because now it is no longer my body, my choice. I don't have a say in what I get to do with my own body anymore. This is opening floodgates.
Suicide rate is
Are
about
you
to
even going to be
skyrocket.
able to tie your tooth now?
But it's going to be
You're not
worse
gonna
than
be able
that.
to do
It's
that.
going to be worse than that. We have a very high prison population in this country, and watch how quickly we're going to see forced sterilization start. I guarantee it.
But stay tuned for your next mass shooting at whatever local high school, mall,
Because we
church,
care about
movie
life.
theater. We care about life. That's
Yeah.
right.
It's
That's
not
what-
about
that's what
life.
we want.
Population control with COVID was for nothing, pretty much.
But their perspective is so skewed. It has nothing to do with, oh, we want to protect these children because we don't give a fuck about these kids.
I feel like we as women been taking shots all week. Y'all heard about Saucy Santana too?
Yes.
It's coming from us.
Yo,
Yes.
nice segue. You see me, Freddie?
That was good. That was a good one. I could rant all day about that topic. So yeah, let's move on. Let's go.
I want you to get into it because I'm not
The girls. That's what Saucy Santana calls it, the girls.
Girls.
He said that we would be nothing without him.
He said that
That was
women are dependent on gay men to know how to dress, to know how to do our hair, to do our makeup, to know what's trendy. That basically women don't exist without a gay man.
I'm not gonna hold you. They do it well. They do it well.
I know some gay men that
Except
can't
he's
dress
still
for
rocking
shit.
a beard
Like,
wearing women's clothing. I don't get that part.
I mean,
wait, I missed that. What did you say?
she said he has a beard.
He's still rocking a beard, dressing like a woman. So
But
what are we?
he-
What are
I
we?
mean,
I mean,
so
I
he,
care.
I feel
I
like
mean,
what are
he
we
wants
getting?
to-
What are we getting from him exactly?
I don't think it's
He
about
got
the
that
clothing.
from us.
I think his wording was incorrect because if it wasn't for his mama, he would have his taste and style
That's right.
back.
Correct.
And I'm speaking myself, and that's what I said. It's different types of gay men. I am not a part of that. What I will say is, maybe gay men enhanced a little bit, with a little bit more like sculpting to different styles and fashion and whatnot. Because I will say, there's a lot of gay men and women. I gotta say women as well, because women do not fall behind. That direct great movies. Have done great hip hop videos. There's some gay men that clothe a lot of the biggest rappers that are out in the game, like Jay-Z, J. Cole, Busta, Missy, to say a few. I think a lot of gay people in the community have done so much for Hollywood hip hop and other aspects of entertainment. But his wording was very disrespectful to women as a whole. You can't carry a child for 9 months. You just can't be a woman in certain aspects of what a woman does daily. And I know I'm about to get hit with the I can't believe you said that. Shit, you a gay man.
He said what he said.
This is why I guess I was considered old soul because of what I'm saying now. There's just a lot of things there that I'm agree with what you said. Women still have so much in 24 hours and 365 every day of their lives and for a lifetime to deal with versus us men, even gay men. So I just don't agree with this.
I think he minimalized too, because you're right. I mean, gay culture has a huge influence over pop culture, over society, over fashion, over entertainment, all of those things. But that's not all that you guys. And I feel like he kind of minimized what gay men bring to the table.
Yeah.
Like all you bring is fashion and hair and makeup. Like no,
He stereotyped the niggas.
He
In
did.
the same
in
exact.
the same way.
That's why I tell people, do not label, do not exclude, and none of those things, because we are all different types of gay men. I'm not saying I'm more macho than the next, but what I'm saying is that's not where I'm at. That's your comments. Those are not our comments. I just
Speak for
want to put
yourself,
that out
sir.
there. Yeah, just want to put that out there.
That's
'cause
like saying all women are the same. No, all
Yeah.
women are not the same.
just because you put on a good lace front don't mean nothing. I mean that just means
Exactly.
you put on a
We
good
can
lace
all
front.
watch YouTube and
We can all learn. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. I'm a little
I don't care.
That
I
kind of
know
stuff.
I'm the best Saucy Santana. Give me the bread and let's do it.
There's
I know I definitely can.
just so
I
more important is like I think it's great to even
And he
have
said that
a
on
male
stage.
to a crowd. He said it at Pharrell's festival last weekend in DC, like to the whole crowd.
I didn't know.
To the whole, and they did not respond well. The crowd did not respond well.
I
to
wouldn't
it.
have either. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. You're giving a lot of, and this is what I go back to even in conversations with my own friends. You can't say those types of things because then when we walk into a room, and I say we as my husband and I walk into a room and go to a gathering, we have to deal with those people going by what they see on TV, what they've heard, and they think they're wrong, saying we're not. And that's where the level of disrespect comes into play. And this is why I always say I wake up and always having to fight everybody because of those things. We're not the same. There's different levels to this shit in the sense of respect. And I feel like because he has a platform, and I don't even know who Foxy Santana is, honestly speaking. When you have a platform, you feel like you can say whatever you want. You can't do that. Look what happened to the baby.
You can't say whatever you want, but what you
can't.
do need to do is you need to be mindful of your platform.
Yes, because it will be taken away as fast as you grab it.
Yeah, like he's just like starting.
He's young Miami best friend.
Yeah, like he's like with the city girls and that kind of thing. Like he's
With who
just
again?
saucy Santana.
No, who was he with again?
Young Miami.
A woman.
Hey.
Remember that. Remember that.
Covery show.
Trying to steal all her style. Look at that.
But it's just, I felt like it was so like diminishing to the value that the gay community brings to the table. You know, like it's just, I think it's great when you have a gay male friend that I can talk to you about relationships. It's great to have a male perspective on things. You know, it has nothing to do with you being gay. It's just it's great to have somebody to talk to that's not going to try and fuck me, and I can like speak about, man, what would you do? You
All
know,
the possibilities of that.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Allegedly,
the value of friendship that comes from like gay men, like that to me is more impressive than whether or not you could do my makeup or do my hair or you know what I mean? Like,
and some of them can't. Everybody don't do.
Because you're not flamboyant as if that's to be expected. Like I feel like people live with that stereotype in their mind.
Some people will be like, what's wrong with women? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with women. I think women are beautiful. I was with women before I was with men. In the sense of like, again, like I have to say it like this, from the exploration of my journey. Women are beautiful. There's nothing like a gorgeous woman that knows who she is. She's very independent. She knows her standards, and she is walking that walk of life.
She walks in her grace.
Yes, and I say that because I look at my mother and what she has gone through, and carrying 5 children and maintaining a household, and she was flawless in her time, wearing her makeup, her heels, and getting ready, but also maintaining again a household and having a husband herself that she was married to for 32 years. And I look at women as phenomenal, beautiful. I think women are sexy. Everything about them is sexy. Does that necessarily people are like, so aren't you gay? No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is,
Worry about yourself.
God made women for a beautiful reason, and God made gay men and gay women for beautiful reasons.
Say that again. God made gay men.
Gay men, gay women, straight people, whatever you want to call it. I don't feel like if God did not want me here, this is the conversation I had with the last one I had with my mother. I said, do you really think I would be here? Do you think God has every right and decision to take me away from you? But you have, and you took a vow, a vow that a lot of people forget. When a woman births a child, she has 2 different choices. She could either give that child away for adoption, or unconditionally, I'm saying it again, unconditionally love that child for the rest of her life, whether he has symptoms or she has, whatever, or even growing up to be gay. It is not a choice. I say that proudly again. It is not a choice because I don't know who I was as a child. Yes, I know I have a penis and 2 balls. I know that. But as a child, I don't know if I was going to like that little girl, or if I was going to grow up to like that teenage girl.
can't be forced if we don't know. And then when we do explore ourselves, then we do know where we are.
That's what I was just about to get to.
We do know where we are.
Like, how do you feel about, like, it being forced in schools and stuff? Like,
I think it's just, I don't
Like-
agree with it. I don't agree with the Florida law. Don't ask, don't tell pretty much is basically what we're going back to from the military style thing. So that means a child that's growing up with all these feelings and confusion and mixed emotions cannot go to a counselor now and have that conversation because it's not allowed. So then the next step is, well, it's either I'm going to have to fight myself or really literally kill myself for something that I'm supposed to be considered wrong about. It's a lot of things to deal with. And not everybody's going to know that unless you know or have someone in your family that is, gay, bisexual, curious, or whatever, etc. My whole thing is that we cannot continue to force something on our kids when our kids don't even know who they are yet.
I feel like kids should.
Yes.
You as a parent have the right to expose your child to whatever you want to expose your child to.
that's us as parents, but they're doing it for us.
Yeah.
And all around, like on TVs, they just
Yeah.
banned Buzz Lightyear for same-sex kissing in a scene. Like,
My thing
what
is,
a Disney
you-
movie.
yeah, my
Yeah,
thing
they
is you
banned it.
can't really shelter kids from too much because what you don't tell your kids, the world
They'll
will.
find out.
Yeah.
And they
The
have
world
such
will.
accessibility to the information.
Right, but
now.
we didn't have
No,
accessibility.
we didn't.
We didn't have what they have now.
It didn't take a movie for him to realize I think I like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it didn't
Exactly.
take that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Life will teach you what.
It's this is the
Basically,
ideology of the
just gives
same
kids a chance
people.
to grow
This
and
is the-
explore for themselves.
Exactly. Like, but I feel like the people that speak like that, that's that ideology of the same people that sit there and say like video games are the reasons mass shootings happen. No, it's not.
There's always
No,
an
it's not.
excuse to blame something else.
Exactly.
for
Rather
something
than
have to
taking
find an
accountability as
excuse.
a parent or,
Exactly.
Okay, I think we have time for one more. So there was a situation this weekend. On Friday at Lidditz Springs Park, they were having a Celebrate Pride event. About 1,000 people showed up. It was like this great, and for Lidditz, that's kind of like dope because
That's a lot of people.
that's
in
probably
this.
like the whole town.
It's
Like,
conservative. It's
yeah.
conservative.
yeah, so it was like kind of impressive.
Look, I don't even like going to this.
Girl, I don't either.
I'm ready to say
So they were having their Celebrate Pride event, and it was dope. Like there was 1,000 people at the park. There were vendors and events and like food animals, and it was just like a big festival. So there's a church in Mountville, some evangelical right Christian church, and they showed up at the event. They started protesting, which they're completely within their means to do. If you don't have to think the same way, like that's fine. You're completely within your rights. But then they started shouting at children that were at the event, whether they had a gay parent or were trying to stay themselves, like I don't know, but they started screaming at the kids that Jesus hated them and that God was going to light them on fire, hopefully before they did, was the wording. They had signs and all of this. People called the police, and basically all of the protesters, I think there was like 12 of them, they all got arrested.
When I tell you that nothing would have stopped me from dragging somebody.
Oh,
I honestly think that they're the ones that's going to be burning in hell. for
they
that
absolutely
shit. You know
are.
what I'm
God
saying?
doesn't like ugly,
Why would you do? You're supposed to be a church. Like,
but they're like
Don't talk to my
evangelical
child.
far right
No,
Christian
again.
I
churches.
don't watch the news.
It's just like, yeah, this is what I'm saying. I got problems infuriating.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Don't
infuriating.
talk to my
traumatize
child.
somebody's kid saying they're going to burn up.
Where were their parents at? Because
I don't know.
I
I
would've
don't know.
chose
Like the
violence.
kids were just running around. Like I don't know what the scenario was, but they were standing outside. And the thing that they didn't understand though is this park isn't public. It's private. It's actually owned by the Moravian Church. The Moravian Church was holding the Pride event. It's a private park owned by them, so they got. I see the big question mark. They didn't know. So they show up, and all of them got arrested for like trespassing and all of this because it's a private park. And they do that.
thugs, all
Yeah.
of them, thugs.
So that
Christian
happens
thugs.
on
Look at
Friday.
those thugs.
Christian thugs. I'm scared.
I ain't gonna ask.
I don't
I'm
think.
not gonna ask the
I don't
question.
think they ever read the Bible. I think they just
No.
go by hearsay. So
I'll say this. For
Okay.
anybody that quotes the Bible and tries to say that homosexuality is banned according to the Bible, you actually read what the verse says. It says man shall not lay with boy. It's talking about pedophilia, not homosexuality. That's
Period.
it. Period. Okay. You gotta read the whole fucking thing. Kind of like the
And
Second Amendment.
with that
Read the whole thing.
said,
We did it again.
Number
did.
40 in the book.
4-0.
and look how big we did it.
Wow.
With Freddie.
With Freddie.
I want my tacos
want
now.
silly string.
You said you want your tacos.
I want my
I
taco
want
meat.
tacos too.
I want to say I'm proud of you.
Really?
I'm very proud of you. You know, you've been doing this for a very long time. And you know, conversations we've had, I'm just so proud you're still doing this. And I love you guys' platform. You know, I don't really get a chance to see it, and you know, just being able to like be in it. It's humbling. And I love y'all ladies for what y'all doing. Thank you. And again, you are always helping me grow. Not all of them, but my baby mama. I love them so much. Thank you.
Listen.
Thanks for talking.
I heard while you walking down the street, you was walking, I grabbed you and hugged you. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
I do remember that. I do remember
You
that.
hugged him. You just grabbed him.
I knew him off of social media, but at the time you were going through something.
Yeah.
You remember? And he was walking down the street, and I said, I know who that is. I just went up and
Yeah, I think it was my house.
How did you
You was out here grabbing strangers and shit.
he gave me a high five. I needed it just as much as
It's
he
not
did.
weird to me because some people, because you my friends, were like, I can't go out with you anywhere. You need to stop. Somebody knows you, or it's a social media thing. It's your dance film. Like I don't know either. I just give the love back. You know,
Like, you
You
love
gotta
love.
get energy,
Yeah.
that's why.
yeah, I love people. I'm not gonna like because I have a platform like that.
Like, get off of me.
Let's be on there and you know that is what it is. But I appreciate you guys for having me on. You know, continue striving for different.
When is your next?
So I do Zumba and East Crunch Sport, 6:30 on Mondays, and then I do Zumba and United Crunch at 6:30 on Wednesdays.
So,
I told him outside, I said, listen, if I'm not drunk, I'm like, I'll be low-key shy. Like, I can't date. I'll bring snacks to Zumba.
I'm
And
doing
I'm
As long
not
as
talking
they're
about a
healthy.
protein bar.
I'm bringing a tripod and I'm gonna videotape this whole thing.
Look, you know,
6:30 on Wednesday, the Lancaster Crunch.
It's fun. I get these things pumped. I'm pumped too. Like I be in my feels like.
when are you going to start your videos? We want to see you Southside.
I
Do y'all dance at home together?
Off from copyright.
No?
No?
mean, I can still. So I learned a method to their madness of what they do. So my thing is like, if it's an older song, they can't cut the copyright on. But if it's somebody like Beyonce or something fresh and raw and
I know you want to
Up
tear
to
apart
date.
that new Beyonce.
oh, I was trying to. They cut me off as soon as it happened. I was like, cause I have a Zumba routine to the song, and yeah, I was trying to like put it out and.
When did you start dancing?
Oh, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it got more professional once I started. Once I left to New York, and I was doing like dance parades out there, doing stuff with the kids, and I did some stuff here in Lancaster too for like for the Puerto Rican Day parades here, and I was in Latino club and I was in African dance club. So you know, I'm always inspired by both sides of my roots.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I really do enjoy about being Latino and Black is that I get a chance to get everything, and all of the good stuff. And dance has always been my thing. I did a video when they started doing live first on Facebook and they started getting popular. And that's how like everybody was like, "You're that dude." I'm like, I don't stop that.
We saw you.
Yeah.
You have to go out with like the big mustache on.
I guess this was viral before viral was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on. We
Guys,
enjoyed
I
having
appreciate
you.
We're gonna have to have you back for sure.
Absolutely. I would love to come back.
Like,
If you want to, go ahead.
it's so soft.
That's not little blue muscle buddy. Might
No,
be
that's
light
a
buddy heavy though. Okay?
You know,
Okay?
you know what I mean.
Well, this has been another episode of the Clean Table. Really quick before we get out of here, July 16th is Room of Rhyme. I want to see you there too.
Yes.
Room of time down in Zootropolis will drop a link in the comments. Hosted by Thundercat. I heard Big Skin's in this thing.
Yeah. I hear some
It's gonna be nice and tea and too.
She wants to leave for that. August 5th, then down at York, shout out to the Parliament. We're gonna have History Labs in YC at the Bonds. So we hope to see you guys there.
Also, July 9th, 10 a.m. the Trail to End Bail.
Oh yeah.
So that's the Lancaster Bail Fund with Michelle that is holding this at the Lancaster County Park at Pavilion 2 is to help raise money for the bail fund.
All the protesters.
They're proponent of criminal justice reform. So
Absolutely.
please go. I know I'm definitely gonna go. I'm just ready for the
I'll be there.
Bonnie and I will be there. Bonnie and I will be there. So you come hang out with us. Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Freddie, thank you so much for coming. We love you. We love you. We love you. Where can they get this?
Amazon,
Kindle.
Barnes and Nobles.
Barnes and Nobles. And if you're lucky enough, you might need it in real life. But I doubt it. It's fine. Have a good day, guys. Thank you for tuning in.